How a man dresses doesn't matter. No, what matters are my skills and that I'm a good person. So how many times have you heard those words? Seriously, if I got $1 for every time somebody said that in the comments, I would be a multi-millionaire. Now let me be clear, I want to agree with those words. But the problem is, reality, it doesn't care what you want. No, the reality is that human beings are visual creatures that use heuristics to make quick decisions. What this means is we use an imperfect process that takes patterns, our history, things we've experienced in the past, and we try to make future decisions based off that. Now, are these decisions always correct, like a well-dressed man is successful? No, of course not. But this has helped get us pretty far in life, and it's something that we're going to continue to do because, again, it saves us cognitive energy. So rule number 1 that your father should have taught you is that style matters. Image and presentation matter a lot. Oftentimes more than what you say, and initially more than even what you know. In today's video, gents, we're talking about style rules your father should have taught you. Now, gents, I'm going to re-emphasize that first point. You've got to give a damn about style, because if you don't care, you're not going to take the steps to actually improve your image. Now, this takes me to rule number 2. What matters when it comes to style? So I break it into 3 parts. You have the physical image, and this is your clothing, this is your accessories, this is the way that you adorn yourself, your grooming. But right with that, we've got mannerisms. This is going to be your body language. This is going to be the way that you move. This is going to be basically how do you control your body, your posture. All of these things go into what people perceive to be a good presentation. Because again, you can have a $2,000 suit on and it could fit you. But if you've got really bad posture, if you carry yourself like a slouch, like someone that's intimidated, all of a sudden you're going to lose the power of that image. And the third part of your style is your speech. The way that you project your voice, the way that you speak. I mean, I'm sure you've seen this. A guy that looks the part, has presence, walks into a room and opens his mouth, and all of a sudden his credibility falls because the way that he speaks. And I'm not just saying that he has a particular lisp or he's got some disability. I'm saying he just can't put 2 words together without throwing in a crutch. The guy hasn't thought through. He hasn't practiced speaking. I had a good friend in the military. He was in 03, and every time he opened his mouth, he lost credibility because he sounded like a valley girl. Every other word was the word like. It just sounded so bad. It didn't matter that he was an incredibly smart individual that had important things to say. Most of us were kind of just laughing because it was comical. My point is, style is a lot more than just image. Image is one part. You also have to get those mannerisms down and pay attention to the way that you speak. And if it's that bad, find ways to improve it. Next up, don't just talk the talk, but walk the walk. And what I mean by that is take action. Start to practice dressing well. Because you may have all this information up here. You may have watched 100 of my videos, read magazines, read books, but that knowledge is just knowledge stuck up in your head. You need to actually put it into action. In fact, if you've watched more than a few of my videos here at Real Men Real Style, you know I am all about practice. And what happens when you start off? When you're first practicing? Well, you're unfamiliar, you're making mistakes, but still you are learning. You're taking action in the right direction. And in fact, I'll use myself as an example here at Real Men Real Style. It's not like I came out of my mother's womb knowing a whole lot about style. I'm self-taught. I didn't go to school. And what I focused in on is just simply getting started and every single day getting a 1% improvement. Because over a year, you will be 38 times better at the end of the year. That's compound interest. That's you investing in yourself and finding something that you want to learn more about. A specific example here, watches. 5 years ago, I didn't even wear a watch. Nowadays, you will never find me not wearing a watch on my wrist. In fact, I've got a tan line to prove it. But seriously, the story is 5 years ago, I had a company, the Fifth Watches, reach out to me, send me a watch. I started wearing a watch on a daily basis. You know what? I liked it. All of a sudden, I enjoyed being able to check my wrist for time, and I started to develop a relationship with watches. I started finding more interest in them, so I started doing research, started reading about them. I wrote an entire ebook. Next thing you know, I'm making videos. I'm putting out tons of information, helping men choose the right watch for them, what fits their lifestyle, the right size for their wrist. The point is, get started, take action, and look to improve every day. Now, today's video, gents, is sponsored by the Fifth Watches, and right here I'm wearing their Luminary Champagne Auto. Now, gents, if you haven't been over to the Fifth Watches website for a while, you are going to be in for a surprise. These guys have really upgraded. They've improved a lot over the last few years, and what I love is they've got a Swiss-made collection. This watch right here, just absolutely beautiful. I love the dimensions. I love just the really muted look. For me, I've got a lot of bold watches, so I wanted something that's just going to actually work with my tones, and this one does, this watch right here just looks beautiful. So this watch also has turn brush lugs, a hand polished belly case, sapphire crystal, and glow in the dark super luminova hands and indices. And let's talk about that movement. That's a 26 jewel Swiss made automatic movement in there. And it's also got a really nice Italian leather strap that just looks great with the watch. And check out that see-through case back. And notice the strap has this latch right here that makes it easily interchangeable. Another watch I had sent to me, this crisp white and steel. What I like about this watch is the simplicity of the dial. This is a watch that you can dress up, you can dress it down. You've got that steel band, so it's going to be tough. Now this watch, as you can see, the black steel is a bit more casual. Again, right in the dial, notice we've got those numbers in there. Those indicators right there just make it a bit more of a field watch. Still, the steel overall, the very clean look is something, I could pull this off with the sports jacket, but definitely this watch is going to be a bit more casual because of that dark colored dial. And if you want an affordable chronograph, check out their Vesper in the London collection. So this is a versatile, classic design featuring a 60-second stopwatch function and has both a 30-minute and 24-hour counting subdial. If you think you know what the fifth watch is about, you're probably wrong. Go over and check them out, guys. I'm linking to them down in the description with the best deal. Again, you're going to find out there on the web. So use that link. Go take advantage of this deal. It's not going to be around forever. Again, the details right down there in the description of today's video. The next style rule your dad should have taught you: dress the body you have, not the body you wish you have. Yes, I know you plan on losing 20 to 30 pounds or gaining 20 to 30 pounds of muscle. Point being, make sure the clothing that you own fits you. And it's better to own less and to make sure it fits you well than to have a closet full of clothing that's way too big or, worst case, way too small. Most guys don't wear clothing that's too tight. We're just conscious of it and it doesn't feel good. It's just hard to do. But clothing that's too loose, this is an epidemic. And now it's even a fashion trend. Be careful of this. You want to wear clothing that offsets your, let's just say, less desirable features. If you have a big stomach, you're going to want to wear clothing that's going to build up the shoulders. That's why jackets or even shirts with epaulets, long sleeve shirts that actually don't draw attention to your kind of flabby forms, it's not going to hide everything. Nothing is going to make a large man look skinny. That being said, you can look large and in charge versus fat and sloppy. And that's what I aim towards, is to help you understand how can you wear clothing that's going to make you look good today. Now, of course, work to get in great shape, work to build on more muscle, to lose that fat. But until that day happens, wear clothing that's going to make you look your best. Now, your dad should have also taught you about the style pyramid. What? He didn't? Gosh, show him my videos. And I really try to make this simple because if you nail these three things, you are so far ahead of most people. You know the Pareto principle that 20% yields you the 80%? This is the 20% of style that will yield you the 80%. If your clothing fits you, which we just talked about, dressing for your body, if you choose the right fabric. And what I mean by this is quality made clothing that drapes on your body and just makes you look good. And that's more than just suits. That's like actually finding the shorts that have the right inseam length that look good on you. Making sure that whenever you put on a hat that it frames your face properly. If you're going to wear a hat, even a baseball cap. Function is choosing the right piece of clothing for the occasion. So if you're going into an interview, but it's a casual company, you don't need to have a suit, but you need to have clothing that makes you feel good, that you feel like $1,000,000, so you go in there and nail the interview. When you're choosing shoes, you want to make sure that the shoes are going to work with the clothing. There is such a thing as having too dressy of shoes with too casual of clothing. It just looks off. People don't always even understand what they're feeling or seeing when they see it, but they do feel that something's off, and that's what you don't want. You want your clothing to, in a sense, if you nail those three things, the style pyramid, all of a sudden your clothing is going to fade into the background and you are going to be able to shine. Next up, know the code. No, not this one. I'm talking about dress codes. And anyone that tells you there's no dress code, they're wrong. There's always a dress code. Otherwise, you could show up naked. Even at a nude colony, there's a dress code. Be naked. Point being is any place you go, there's an expectation of how you dress. Most people make it actually more difficult because they don't state what it is. I love dress codes because when a wedding has a dress code, they are making it very clear what you need to wear. And this is where it gets confusing because most guys haven't thought through this and all of a sudden they're not able to navigate this. How about you take the time to figure out, okay, what is really the dress code for work? Where can I fit in it? And what message do I want to send? And this will be the next rule that I'm going to introduce you to, is understand the message that you want to send the world. And this is where you take a dress code for your company, let's say, and then you say, where do I want to fit in this and what message do I want to send with my image and presentation? So you're a lawyer, but you're a lawyer in a construction firm. Does that mean that you dress like the other construction workers? No, because this is a multi-million-dollar firm and you make sure that everything is taken care of with the paperwork so that you guys aren't sued. You protect the company. So you do have a certain type of presentation you want to put on. You are going to probably be one of the best dressed guys in that company. And the CEO may dress down because he's on the job site, but that is not your job to be on the job site. Your job is to protect the company. If you're a high-level consultant in New York City or you're over in Mumbai, you're going to probably dress a little bit differently. Why? Because you've got different types of weather. So understanding dress codes are oftentimes affected by your culture, by your location, by the weather, but understand there is a dress code, and then think about the image that you want to send the world. Think through this and put together a uniform, clothing that you can just default to, and it sends that message of professionalism, of competence. Whatever your goal may be, understand that there is a dress code and that there is a uniform that you can have. So you don't have to think about it. You can just default to it. And and by the way, great fragrance. Absolutely love this one. Now, gents, if you're enjoying today's video, do me a favor, smash that like button. Show the algorithm who's boss. Seriously, guys, when you interact with these videos, when you leave a comment down below, let me know how I've messed up, how you would have added this point to the video. I love hearing from you guys, and I love interacting down below, but it also helps the videos do well. So if for nothing else, do it for the algorithm. Next up, spending money does not make you stylish. It doesn't matter if the clothing you own, the watches, the detail, all that stuff is super expensive. If you don't wear it with confidence, if it doesn't fit you, if it doesn't suit the needs at the time, all of a sudden it will lose a lot of its power. And again, I've talked about why fit is so important. I have seen guys in multi-$1,000 suits that didn't fit them and it looks horrible versus a guy that was able to get a suit that was thrifted and he made sure it fit him. Guess what? He looked amazing. Money does not buy style, but money can help expedite the process because you can get a custom clothier. If you've got more time, but not a whole lot of money like I know a lot of students do, then in that case, go ahead and put in that time. You'll be able to save on the money. But if you don't have much time, be prepared to spend more money. But again, have that higher expectations. Find the best menswear store in your area. Just go in and work with a professional who can help direct you where you can have something that looks amazing. And that's when money can, I think, improve style, but by itself, don't think that if you spend more, you're necessarily going to get more. Next up, dress how you expect to be treated. So you're taking your wife out for an anniversary, you're taking your girl out, you are going to have a great time. Well, dress the part. Look like a man. If you dress like a boy, you're going to be treated like a boy. You walk in and you are looking good, people call you sir. And you guys know what I'm talking about. In fact, if you've had this happen to you, let me know down in the comments so that you can reinforce and show other guys that this is real. Just the other day, I'm in a store and I was asked, oh, do you work here? And it was, I thought, actually a nice thing because I was actually dressed well. I wasn't actually pushing a cart. I had a few things in my arm. So I see where the mistake happened. Point being is I would rather look like a person in charge and be mistaken for a person in charge than be mistaken as somebody that shouldn't be there, somebody that they don't want to associate with. Dress in the way that you want to be treated. And amazingly, many times people will treat you that way. Next up, own your clothing. Don't rent it. Pretty simple, right? That being said, if that bridezilla really wants orange tuxedos, do not buy that. Instead, either opt out of the wedding or swallow your pride. The next style rule your father should have taught you: life has seasons. So don't be afraid if your style is going to evolve. In fact, when you're younger, experiment, have fun. I had a friend in college, Scotty J. The guy would go from cowboy to preppy to goth. He changed every single year. Every few months, his style changed. And I'm not saying that, we actually kind of made fun of it, but he still went out there and tried it. Point being is you're not going to know unless you try it. And as you get older, again, your style continues to evolve. Maybe not as fast, but you may say, you know what, my hair is changing color. Maybe you lose your hair, okay? Maybe change the image, especially as your skin, your hair starts to change in color as you get older. Definitely, you're going to find you're going to go towards different colors. But even young men can find that, you know what? I've got kids now, and I know for me, I've defaulted to darker clothing. Why? Well, dirty little hands don't stain as much on darker clothing, so it's just something I go to. Yes, at some point, I will start wearing white shirts and a lot of light-colored clothing again. Life has seasons, and don't be afraid to move with them and let your style evolve. Next up, we've got imitation, and this is where you're looking at the outfit combinations these guys are putting together, and you are copying. It does help if they've got the same complexion because it's going to give you a similar feel, a similar look, but you don't have to stick with that. And a lot of people are worried, well, if I do this, people are going to notice that I'm copying George Clooney, that I'm copying Chris Pine's look. No, nobody is going to notice. Maybe Harry Styles, if you copy some of his looks because they're a little bit outlandish and crazy, yes, somebody would pick up, but you could choose one piece. And that's why, you walk in the stores and you're like, I like that statement piece. I like what he did there. I'm going to find a way to copy it, to imitate it. And believe me, whenever you do this, what you're doing is you're building up confidence, and you're starting to, by taking action, learn. And then after you've done this for a while, all of a sudden you start to experience self-realization. And that's where you start to just feel what is your style. You start to know, hey, I gravitate towards this. This is when I put it on, I feel like $1,000,000. And all of a sudden you start to understand what image you want to project. And again, within sticking with it, maybe bounds at work, understanding, okay, I am wanting to project this image, but I want to have a little bit of fun. I want to go with something a bit edgy. And this is where a person really can start to develop their own personal style. All right, Jen, so if you enjoyed today's video, you're going to love this one. 11 skills I wish my father would have taught me. So like a lot of you guys, I didn't really have a father figure growing up. And in this video, I share with you the skills I wish I would have learned as a young man. And even if you're an older guy, you're going to love this video. So check it out, guys. 11 skills I wish my father would have taught me.